Beautiful morning here in Listiga Bay. Not many other boats out here. These guys are hugging the edge. Got a full night's sleep last night. And now I'm gonna have a full cup of coffee. And honestly, this AeroPress is the only way to go. This thing is awesome. Put this little plunger on and create a vacuum, and then there it steeps for a little while. Here you have one piping hot cup of coffee. Today's project is working on how to rig the Whiskerpole. I bought the carbon fiber Whiskerpole you see ahead of me, and I have not used it yet, and I wish I had it on that run from Sardinia all the way down to Stromboli. It would have come in handy, although I would have had to jibe several times. It definitely would have been nice to have that Whiskerpole, and I've been advised to rig the Whiskerpole, and I have just avoided it. So now, as I'm testing it, I'm finding some issues. So let's go through these issues. Number one, getting the Whiskerpole down is not too much of an issue. The yellow line here is my topping lift right here, and that goes to the end. And then the car that goes up and down the mast, it's a little dirty here, is controlled by this white with yellow and blue fleck. And what I found was, loosening the pole up a little bit, I can wedge the head of the pole right in here. But here's the issue. So we have the fore guy, we have the blue sheet coming down through the jaw, and then you see the after guy and the sheet, they rub. And then here's the sheet. This isn't acceptable. So if you leave it through this car here system back to the winch, that's not going to work, obviously. So then I did this iteration. So this iteration utilizes the car that comes with it. It goes, you have to rerun it all the way under the lifelines, obviously. I think I'm a little concerned about chafe. Put a lot of tension. No, it's rubbing. It's definitely rubbing. So, I think that's a setup for chafe. I think technically this sheet line should be run back. Okay, here's the workbench. And we've got, I think, everything we need. Nicole's working down here. What are you working on?
I am saving the agenda for my meeting next week.
Ooh. Okay, I think I got this set up now. It's a chafe-free setup. You can see I only get a couple turns on this winch until I finally get the sail to come out, and then I can get a little bit extra length. But I have the after guy here secured. I have the ends whipped. I even whipped here just to give me an idea of how much needs to be there. And then I made this soft shackle low friction ring just to help guide the sheet fair. And then over on this side here, there's a big guy down there. Oops. I did the same thing. Whipped the ends, marked the length, and everything runs fair now. That's pretty close. The riggers for Hallberg Rassy did such a fantastic job, particularly Martin, I believe, and whoever he has working for him. They do these really fancy splices right here. This is just a great way to hold your extra lines and not tie them to anything else. They're all over the place. There was also one over here, right here. It's chafed on these little bolts last year, and so I just tied a bowl in. But I want to fix it. I want to do it like Martin did it. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. So before I start messing with the actual outhaul, since I still need to sail, I want to make sure that I have enough line. Oh, it looks like we've got plenty here. But we're gonna give this a shot. If it doesn't work, I'll have no mainsail. Okay, so first thing we do is we will release the outhaul. Okay, I got lots of outhaul now. So here's what's left of the Hallberg Rassy splice. Now again, there's tail buried. I don't know how far down it goes, but I'm gonna have to dig that out. Okay, I just extracted the taper. And I want to basically do it this here and here. Again, I want to make a hole here and look for the center. Oh, I can see it. I can see air. That's a good sign. So there's our hole. Okay, we are taped. We've got our hole right there visible. That is the spot. We'll go through this way. And then remember, we take this and we fold it through here. So I'm going to go a little bit lower just to make some room. Here we go, making some room. Here we go. Now this one goes through here. That's halfway through. And then bring it around. There you go, so it's flipped. Now if you remember, you just have to go back up through here. And there, we've got our locked Dremel splice. Okay, I just used the D-splicer and I got the Dyneema inside well, I got the core, got it buried. Now I just need to, fray the ends and taper it. Okay, next step is now that I've just pulled out, individual couplets of strands here. Okay, so here we go. We got a nice taper here, all the way down to the inner core and then the outer core. Now I just need to recover this Dyneema. But yeah, it looks really, really, really good. Okay, just milking out this cover. I had to extract the middle layer, which it looks like they did that as well. And fortunately, I did not. I think I can feel it. There it is. So I got everything buried. Now I got to figure out where to sort of lock this in. All right. Hot damn. Just before dark, we've got ourselves a whipped, Dremel spliced, covered, just like the factory. Well, that took a while. Here's what the finished product looks like. Outhaul line to the clew of the sail, and here's my splice, nicely whipped. I guess I could singe these edges, but I'm not gonna mess with it. And this is the area that's chafing, right where these bolts are. So I just have this here temporarily till I come up with a better answer than electrical tape. And poor Nicole is feeling sick. It's been kind of rocky and rolly, and coming out into the Adriatic here. There's not a lot of wind. There's like 10-12 knots or so, but we're just sort of ghosting along here with just the head sail up, and we've got wind pretty much right behind us.
This is not what it was like for the past.
No, you're right. But I think we have a pretty decent setup here. Sounds like Nicole found a spider. What's wrong? You got a spider?
Yeah.
You gotta kill that thing.
I'm trying.
They'll reproduce. And the pole itself is at about, I don't know, maybe 45 degrees or 55 degrees off of the midline of the boat. This here is this is the anchorage we were at earlier in the week. This is apparently a restaurant, and they will ship you from shore to this restaurant here. We did not go to that one, and then this is the entrance to the Bay of Kotor. Hey, what are you doing?
Wiping down the bimini.
Oh my gosh, are you cleaning again?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get all these little, there's a bunch of these little bugs this season. They just seem to be getting all over the place. Yeah. Oh, and then old Tom hurt his knee, so I've been gimping around for a little while. But yeah, getting the dinghy on deck was not that bad. I'm telling you, I think Tavad is an up-and-coming place, don't you think?
Yes, I love it here.
Yeah, it's really nice. So what we'll have to do before we take this down, we'll just wait till it dries out when all the dew evaporates and everything. Then I can fold it up. This is something I can do myself. Well, the job is done. We got her nice and clean. She is sparkling, handsome looking rear end. Ooh, look at that. This is a much easier job on a 19-foot West White Potter. But on this one, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Well, that's that. Nicole has left, and I am left to my own devices, and those devices are cleaning and winterizing again. So this is the forward V-berth compartment. Hallberg Rassy was kind enough to put these little bits of string and clips to hold it in place. I think one of the things you can appreciate only by wiping things down, just like when you clean your car. Look at all that filth muck on that rag. I mean, this is a very, strong cross member. The hull here is super thick. You can see there's a ridge here of thickness. This is the flat slammy part. And then right here is the bow thruster. This here is another bulkhead, and this is the sort of half-height waterproof bulkhead. So if there is some sort of a collision or a breach, the bow would fill up with water, but it would stop at this particular bulkhead here. There is a drain that is accessible in the floor right here, and you would turn that off to prevent any ingress into the main hull of the boat. Here we can see inside that forward compartment. That goes right up to the front, doesn't it? Yep, right up to the bow. Okay, so now I'm obviously in that forwardmost compartment. We'll just get this cleaned up down here. This is just a, I guess we call it like a vinegar solution. This is my bookshelf, and under the seat is a good spot to store your sextant and all your manuals. And you're going to be in here looking at these manuals, so one of the good things that you can do is just label what's in each binder that they give you at Hallberg Rassy. Selden calls for lubrication of the motor drive unit once a year, and that screw is right there, that little plastic screw. The one thing that I think of is I'm going to drop that damn screw in the mast, so I'm going to put a bag with some tape to ensure that I don't lose that screw. If you look at this setup, it is virtually impossible for me to lose this little lubrication screw. Having this baggie definitely saved the day. There's the screw. Now we'll just put in one little squirt of synthetic lube. And then I need to rotate this one rotation. The other thing we can do is check these windows here. And in here you can see the gears. Not sure if that comes through, but you can see gears in there. They have plenty of grease on them. So up here at the furler, this is the top, and I have the sail off. But you can see there's two channels of bearings here. I already lubricated those, and I think the next set to be lubricated are right in here. So I'll just get some grease in there as well. We'll rotate it. This is how you fold a sail, right? First you recruit a buddy named Andre, and then we'll just start to feather this thing and get her all folded up. Good morning. Well, it is October 1st, and we've got a couple more days before this girl is out of the water. And before then, we have one more blow to deal with, and I'm hoping that we don't have to deal with that blow when I'm trying to get this thing alone out to the travel lift, which is about a half a mile down the bay here. But I've got her pretty well prepped up here. Not sure. All right, we're back in the engine bay, and we're going to do some cleaning. So we've got a lot of corrosion here on these filter baskets, the base of the Fisher Panda. Just a couple little parts here. We'll start with this guy here. I got some Lanacoat on here. Well, I think that's looking pretty good now. Okay, these areas are cleaning up nicely, so I'll just coat them with Lanacoat as well. Well, there's the engine compartment. It looks pretty darn good now. She's flowing pretty good. Wow, it is 50 degrees out there, 55, and windy. So there's our current status. We have a lull in the wind, so we're gonna try and make an escape from this berth. Of course, it's gonna be a crosswind. That's 18, 20. Oh boy. Never a dull moment. Right when I'm about to leave, the wind starts hitting the 20s. So what? Well, we made it in one shot. And these are going right where we have the lift marks here. It says lift. Right here, sir. Got some barnacles. Yeah, we need some bottom paint. Look at all these fucking barnacles. Holy shit, what a mess. Well, they got her all cleaned up. We're at Navarre Yachts next to a Kraken 50, which is kind of cool. Got a good look at that. And you know, we are way up in the air, but we got front row seats. You know, this is like an amazing view. Okay, so battery terminals are unhooked, and I pulled the keys out of the wall. It's actually not possible to do this job without losing a washer and donating some blood.